Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the best games that I played in Q3. Now I've been super busy, so I haven't done a video like this in a while, but I wanted to make sure that you all remember my awards categories, so by the time we get to my year-end recap, you'll be ready to go.
I'm ready! I'm ready! I'm ready! I'm ready!
Whoa there! We still have a few more topics to cover first.
So if you want to know some of the best games that I played and didn't play in Q3, then might I suggest? Hi, I'm Alex from Might I Suggest a Game, a channel devoted to helping you find your perfect board game. Today, like I mentioned before, we're going to be talking about some of the best games that I played over the last 3 months. Now, just because this is the way that my brain works, I like to split these up into different categories. Because I played so many games, I have a hard time keeping track of all of them. And if you don't believe me, let's check out the stats. In July, August, and September, I logged 143 different plays of 85 unique games. I'm pretty proud of that number, even though a lot of those plays were on Board Game Arena, but the statistic that I'm even more proud of is the fact that I played with 46 different players over the last 3 months. The whole point of this channel is to be able to share the joy of board games with as many people as possible, and so I'm glad I've had a small army of people that I've gotten to play with over the last couple months. Anyways, let's get back to the video. Like I said, I can't talk about every game that I played, but I am going to talk about 6 games, one in each of these categories. First, I'm going to talk about a couple games that I didn't play, my top anticipated game and my top missed opportunity from the last 3 months. Then I'm going to talk about the top game that's new to my collection, the top Table Hogger, which is the game that I played the most over this period of time, the top game off the back of the shelf, which is about games that I played again after having not played for a while, and my top overall game for this period. I also want to know what your top overall game has been over the last couple months, so drop it below in the comments, and while you're there, don't forget to hit subscribe and that little bell button so you can get notified when I post new content. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers now, so tell your friends about this channel. If you do, maybe there'll be a giveaway prize in the future with your name on it. Anyways, let's get into it. Will one of these 6 games be the perfect game for you? Let's find out, shall we? Alright, so I've been kind of dipping my toes into the different leader games recently, like Root, Oath, and their newest one, Ahoy. So my top anticipated game is a game of theirs that doesn't actually come out until next year. It's Arcs. Arcs is a narrative-driven, trick-taking campaign game from Cole Wehrle and Leader Games. The description says it plays over 3 sessions with a playtime of about 60 to 90 minutes, although there are modes that allow only 2 sessions or even only 1 session. To be honest, I don't know too much about this game, but it combines a ton of different mechanics that I really enjoy. It seems like it's combining the storytelling from Oath with the asymmetry of Root, and then adding some sort of trick-taking element in the middle.
Oh ho, slow down there, Speed Racer.
I mean, I love a good trick-taking game, so that seems right up my alley. They also made sure to specify in the description that players start at a more symmetrical position, and then the decisions that they make throughout the campaign create that patented asymmetry that Leader Games is known by. I like this idea because it makes things easier to set up and explain and get started so that you can learn as you play the game. This was another thing I mentioned about Ahoy that I really liked as well. Each character feels different and gets to make different decisions, but the main mechanics are similar for all the different characters. Also, I think it's really cool to see the Kyle Farron illustrations, but this time in space. I'm a huge fan of his art style, so this game seems right in my wheelhouse. Anyways, this one won't come to retail until next year, but I'll be waiting in the wings to check it out, so make sure you stay tuned to the channel for some more coverage on Arcs. Alright, next up is my top missed opportunity from the last 3 months. It's a game that I got that I could have played and probably should have played over the last 3 months, but I just couldn't get it to the table. And that game is Anno 1800. Anno 1800 is a pretty standard infrastructure building Euro game for 2 to 4 players from Cosmos and designer Martin Wallace. Now, Martin Wallace has this pedigree of being the guy that designed the Brass series, which is very highly ranked on Board Game Geek, among other really solid board games, so I think I have pretty high hopes for this game. Not to mention that it also came pretty highly recommended by a bunch of different board game creators and enthusiasts. I managed to pick up a copy of this one on sale at my friendly local game store, but for one reason or another, I just couldn't get it to the table. I think part of it for me is the theme. I mean, I never played the video game that it's based on, and the classic industry building, tech tree making theme isn't usually one that makes my eyes light up.
What? Okay, you're not into it. That's cool.
I mean, I'm sure the game is good, right? It's gotta be. I guess I feel the same way about this game as I do about Brass Birmingham. I think it's super solid and really streamlined, and I enjoyed playing the game, but there's something about that theme that just doesn't click for me. At the end of the day, the question is, can I get enough people excited about the game to want to play it with me? And I think that has been the Achilles heel for Anno 1800. Still, I have it front and center on my shelf of shame, ready to get played at any moment, so hopefully I can report back at the end of the year saying that I played it and I loved it. Alright, let's talk about some games that I actually played. The top new game in my collection is one that I haven't been able to stop playing since I picked it up at Gen Con. It's Green Team Wins. Green Team Wins is a majority wins party game for 3 to 12 players from 25th Century Games. I managed to snag a copy of this game at Gen Con, and I'm glad that I did it on the first day because apparently it sold out super quick. And I can see why. Green Team Wins is a great game to bring out with all kinds of different people. Basically, anytime that I have a game night that has 6 or more people, it's Green Team Wins to either start or finish the night. The game itself is super simple, it takes 5 minutes to teach, but the best part about it is the discussion and the banter that happens in between questions. In the game, you'll have to answer these questions and try to be in the majority. Now imagine if everybody answers the same answer except for you. What are you gonna do, not defend yourself? Personally, I'm not a huge arguer, but any opinions that I have in the game I feel like have been super strong. And any answer that I give, whether it's wrong or right, I definitely have an argument to back it up with. This kind of lighthearted debate and banter lead to some pretty hilarious moments and definitely some inside jokes.
I love inside jokes. Love to be a part of one someday.
It's super fast paced and doesn't require a lot of brain power, so it's really perfect for any gaming group regardless of their history with games. I just keep bringing this game around with me and people keep wanting to play it, so it's quickly climbing up the ranks of my favorite party games of all time. So if you're looking for an easy to learn and quick to play party game that's a raucous good time with any friend group, even your parents, then might I suggest Green Team Wins. The next one up is my top Table Hogger in Q3, and this one is a bit of a misnomer because I actually played this one the most on Board Game Arena. But I did manage to get the physical copy to the table a few times, so I decided that it qualifies. Anyways, my top Table Hogger is Downforce. Downforce is an F1 themed racing game for 2 to 6 players from Restoration Games. I'm not gonna lie, I knew this game existed, but I wasn't really into it until I started watching F1 Drive to Survive on Netflix. Now I'm pretty much the biggest F1 fan out there, so you know I had to try this game out. The game itself is pretty simple, and all you're doing is really playing cards to move cars around the track, but there is a lot of sneaky elements of strategy based on how you bid and the order in which you play your cards. Now that I've played it a bunch of times, the strategies of when to play certain cards and what to do on certain tracks has become much more apparent. I had the chance to teach this game to a few people as well, and I really like how simple the rule set is. I mean, people understand that the cars are moving around the track. I mean, you know that from Candyland. But I love that moment of realization after they've finished their first race, where they're like, oh, okay, I need to do this or play this card then or move to this space before someone else gets there. And then they just want to race again, which I think is a sign of a really great game.
Let's go again. 2 out of 3. Come on, let's be fair about this.
Anyways, this game can be a little bit luck heavy, but because of how light it is and how quick the races go, if you didn't like the way the race panned out, you can always start again. Downforce really surprised me by having more strategy than I would expect from a pure racing game, and I think it actually acts as a really good gateway game into the idea of hand management. So if you're like me and you want to race like your favorite Pierre Gasly, aka middle of the pack and with lots of complaining, or you just want to try your hand at managing an F1 team and racing an F1 car, then might I suggest Downforce. Alright, next up is the top game off the back of the shelf. I always love this category because it gives me an incentive to play games that I haven't played in a while. So the top game off the back of the shelf in Q3 was Barren Park. Barren Park is a bear theme park building game for 2 to 4 players from Phil Walker Harding and Lookout Games. Barren Park came out in 2017 and I've had it in my collection for a really long time. It was really my first introduction to the idea of polyominoes, and I found out that I really like these types of games all because of Barren Park. But because of the cult of the new, conventions, the new hotness, etc., I hadn't played Barren Park for a good while. Enter Board Game Arena. Barren Park came to Board Game Arena at some point during the summer, and after just a few plays of that one, I remembered how much I really liked that game. It's such a quick polyomino game that feels like it gets over before it even begins, which I think is pretty rare for polyomino games. And there's something about that Tetris-y puzzle to fill out your park and gain bonuses at the same time that really scratches my brain in the right way.
Oh,
Oh, that feels good.
Because of this game, I've gotten into games like A Feast for Odin and Isle of Cats, but this one is really the OG, and I still love it even with all the Clemens Franz art on it. So if you're looking for a perfect gateway game to those heavier polyomino games that I just mentioned, or you just want to create a cute little bear area, then might I suggest Barren Park. Alright, the most prestigious award on this list is my top overall game of Q3, and that one has to go to Mosaic, A Story of Civilization. Mosaic is an engine-building civilization game for 1 to 6 players from Forbidden Games. I first came across Mosaic at Gen Con when I saw it sprawled across a huge table with all these different minis and big city pieces and all kinds of stuff. I think I was a little intimidated by it at first, but once I got playing the game, I was really impressed. A lot of people have been talking about Foundations of Rome as being that super deluxe Kickstarter to go for, but I think Mosaic might be a little bit more compelling, to be honest. What I really enjoyed about Mosaic was that it actually was pretty easy to pick up, especially for a game that looks the way that it does. I feel like a lot of times when games are this big, they'll just add in different mechanics to try to make it feel like it's got enough meat on the bone. The wrinkles to the gameplay to me oftentimes feel arbitrary, and they kind of make the game a little bit more clunky. Mosaic though felt super streamlined, and it was easy to identify a strategy even in my first play because there seemed to be so many viable paths to victory. I really appreciated how simple the actions were. They felt like they were the most streamlined version of what that action could be. I kept expecting there would be some sort of restriction on whether I could put my city in an opponent's territory, or some complicated combat rules that I would just gloss over, but really all the actions were super straightforward, which means that all my time could be dedicated to the decision-making process. I also really liked the variability of the tech cards. To be honest, some of them seemed kind of broken, but I felt like there were enough of them where everybody got a chance to get one, so by the end of the game, all of our empires are really churning along. Overall, Mosaic is a simple and fun civ building game wrapped in a super fancy package with really great components. I mean, what's not to like? So, if you're looking for a box that'll take up half of your game room, or you're just looking for a fantastically streamlined civilization game that'll take you from just Alex to Alexander the Great,
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
then might I suggest Mosaic, A Story of Civilization. Thanks so much for sticking around for my favorite games of Q3. I'd love to hear what your nominations for these categories would be, so drop them below in the comments. Even though convention season for me is over, I'm still hoping to get a bunch more plays in before the end of the year, so that I can make my year-end recap better than ever. Anyways, thanks so much for everyone who supported me so far. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so I can keep growing this channel and keep helping you find your perfect board game. Once again, this has been a Might I Suggest a Game production, and I'm Alex, your board game sommelier, signing off.